What if I told you that the single most important factor determining your success in life isn't your education, your connections, or even your natural talent? What if the key to transforming your career, relationships, and overall happiness could be changed in an instant with a simple shift in perspective? Here's a question that might make you uncomfortable. When faced with a challenge yesterday, did your first thought empower you or defeat you before you even began? If you're like most people, you might not even realize how your automatic responses are shaping your entire reality. Today, we're diving into a book that has transformed millions of lives by revealing this one fundamental truth that successful people understand but rarely talk about. Welcome back to the channel. I'm here to break down Attitude is Everything. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life by Jeff Keller, a former attorney turned motivational speaker who discovered these principles during his own career transformation. Published in 1999, this book has sold over 1 million copies worldwide, and after reading it, you'll understand why. Keller presents 12 powerful lessons that demonstrate how your attitude serves as the foundation for everything you achieve or fail to achieve in life. If you're ready to discover the mental shifts that separate high achievers from everyone else, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell because this summary will give you actionable insights you can implement immediately. Lesson 1. Your attitude determines your direction. Keller opens with a fundamental principle. Your attitude acts as a mental filter that determines how you interpret every experience. He shares the story of two shoe salesmen sent to a remote island. The first salesman cables back, "No market here, nobody wears shoes." The second cables, "Tremendous opportunity, nobody has shoes yet." This concept extends beyond business into every aspect of life. Keller describes how identical twins raised in the same household can develop completely different life trajectories based solely on their interpretive frameworks. One sees challenges as roadblocks while the other views them as stepping stones. Your attitude doesn't just influence your experience. It creates your reality by determining which opportunities you see and which actions you take. The author emphasizes that successful people understand this principle and consciously choose their interpretations. When faced with a setback, they immediately ask, "What can I learn from this?" rather than "Why is this happening to me?" This single shift in perspective transforms obstacles into education and setbacks into setups for future success. Lesson 2. You're a human magnet. This chapter reveals how your dominant thoughts attract corresponding experiences into your life. Keller explains that people with positive attitudes naturally draw opportunities, helpful people, and favorable circumstances, while negative attitudes repel these same benefits. He illustrates this with detailed examples from his legal practice, where he observed that clients who approached their cases with optimism and confidence consistently achieved better outcomes than those who expected failure. The optimistic clients took more productive actions, communicated more effectively with their legal teams, and maintained energy throughout lengthy proceedings. Keller also describes the phenomenon of selective perception, explaining how your attitude determines what information your brain filters in or out. People expecting good things notice opportunities that pessimistic individuals completely overlook. This isn't mystical thinking, it's cognitive psychology in action. Your reticular activating system literally highlights information that confirms your dominant expectations. The chapter includes the story of a job seeker who struggled for months while maintaining a negative attitude about employment prospects. After consciously shifting her mindset and beginning each day with gratitude and expectation of good outcomes, she received 3 job offers within 2 weeks. The external market hadn't changed, her internal magnet had been recalibrated. Lesson 3. Picture your way to success. Visualization isn't wishful thinking, it's mental rehearsal that programs your subconscious mind for peak performance. Keller demonstrates how successful athletes, entrepreneurs, and performers use detailed mental imagery to achieve extraordinary results. He provides the compelling example of Major James Nesmith, a prisoner of war who maintained his sanity and improved his golf game during 7 years of captivity by playing detailed mental rounds every day. Upon release, despite not touching a golf club for 7 years, his handicap had improved from the mid-90s to 74. His mental practice had created neural pathways identical to physical practice. Keller explains the technical aspects of effective visualization, emphasizing that successful mental imagery must engage all 5 senses and include strong emotional content. He describes how Olympic athletes spend equal time in mental and physical training, creating detailed movies of perfect performances that their nervous systems accept as actual experience. The chapter includes practical techniques for career visualization, such as mentally rehearsing important presentations, imagining successful client interactions, and picturing career advancement scenarios with vivid detail. Keller emphasizes that visualization works because your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between real and vividly imagined experiences, treating both as programming instructions for future behavior. Lesson 4. Make a commitment and stick to it. Commitment transforms wishes into reality by focusing your energy and resources with laser-like intensity. Keller distinguishes between being interested in something versus being committed to it. Interest fluctuates with circumstances and convenience. Commitment persists through obstacles and maintains intensity regardless of external conditions. He shares his own powerful transformation story of leaving a successful law practice to become a motivational speaker. The turning point came when he stopped keeping backup plans and made failure impossible by eliminating retreat options. True commitment meant burning bridges and creating accountability systems that would force him to succeed. Keller describes the story of a woman who wanted to start her own business but kept her corporate job just in case. Her part-time commitment produced part-time results. Only when she made the full transition and committed completely did her business thrive. Half-hearted commitment produces half-hearted results because it signals to your subconscious mind that the goal isn't truly important. The chapter explains how commitment activates what Keller calls the power of decision. When you make genuine commitments, your brain begins noticing resources, connections, and opportunities that support your objective. Doors open because your focused attention and elevated energy make you more attractive to people and circumstances that can help you succeed. Lesson 5. Turn problems into opportunities. Every obstacle contains the seeds of equivalent or greater opportunity, but only for those who train themselves to look for hidden advantages. Keller explains how successful people have programmed themselves to automatically ask, "How can this serve me?" when confronted with difficulties. He recounts the detailed story of a restaurant owner whose business faced disaster when construction completely blocked customer access to her location. While other businesses in the area closed or struggled, she created innovative solutions that actually increased her profits. She developed a hard hat lunch special, arranged delivery services to construction workers, and created a unique dining experience around the industrial theme. What appeared to be a devastating problem became the catalyst for business expansion and innovation. Keller provides another example of a sales professional who lost his largest client, representing 60% of his income. Instead of panicking, he used this crisis to diversify his client base and develop new service offerings. Within a year, his income had doubled because the forced diversification made his business more stable and profitable than before. The chapter emphasizes that problems are often blessings in disguise that force growth, innovation, and development that wouldn't occur during comfortable periods. Keller teaches readers to develop what he calls problem-seeking behavior, where you actively look for challenges to solve because each problem represents a potential breakthrough opportunity. Lesson 6. Your words reflect and shape your attitude. Language serves as both the expression and the programming tool for your attitude. Keller demonstrates how changing your vocabulary literally rewires your brain's response patterns and transforms your emotional states. He provides extensive examples of word substitution techniques that successful people use automatically. Rather than saying, "I have to attend this meeting," they say, "I get to contribute to this discussion." Instead of "this is a problem," they declare "this is a challenge." These aren't superficial word games. They're programming techniques that alter your mental state and problem-solving capacity. Keller shares the story of a manager who transformed her team's performance by changing the language culture in their department. She banned certain words such as impossible, can't, and won't work, replacing them with phrases like "how might we approach this differently?" and "what would need to be true for this to work?" Within 6 months, the team's innovation and productivity metrics improved dramatically. The chapter includes specific techniques for eliminating what Keller calls loser language from your vocabulary. Words like awful, terrible, and disaster program your nervous system for negative emotional states, while words like challenging, interesting, and educational maintain resourceful mental states that support problem-solving and opportunity recognition. Lesson 7. Associate with positive people. Your peer group determines your perspective, energy level, and ultimate success more than any other environmental factor. Keller emphasizes that you inevitably become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, making association choices among the most critical career and life decisions you will make. He describes in detail how negative people function as energy vampires, draining enthusiasm and motivation through constant complaints, pessimistic interpretations, and focus on problems rather than solutions. These individuals don't intend to harm others, but their mental programming creates a gravitational pull toward mediocrity and limitation. Keller contrasts this with the energizing effect of positive associations, describing how successful people surround themselves with individuals who challenge them to grow, support their goals, and maintain optimistic perspectives even during difficult periods. He shares the example of a young entrepreneur who joined a mastermind group of successful business leaders, resulting in a dramatic acceleration of his own success through exposure to elevated thinking and higher standards. The chapter addresses the challenge of changing associations, particularly when negative influences include family members or long-term friends. Keller provides strategies for gradually shifting your social environment while maintaining important relationships, including limiting exposure to negative influences and actively seeking new connections that support your growth objectives. He emphasizes that association choices represent active decisions about who you want to become, since human beings naturally adapt to their social environment through unconscious modeling and peer pressure. Lesson 8. Confront your fears and grow. Fear represents false evidence appearing real in most cases, functioning as a mental construction rather than an actual threat. Keller explains how systematic fear confrontation expands your comfort zone and develops the confidence necessary for extraordinary achievement. He shares the detailed transformation story of a professional who suffered from debilitating public speaking anxiety despite needing presentation skills for career advancement. Through gradual exposure therapy, starting with speaking to small groups and progressively building to larger audiences, this individual developed into a confident presenter who eventually built a successful consulting practice around his speaking abilities. Keller describes the physiology of fear, explaining how your nervous system responds identically to real and imagined threats. This understanding empowers you to use the same mechanisms that create fear to build courage through mental rehearsal and systematic desensitization techniques. The chapter includes the story of an executive who overcame her fear of networking by reframing social events as opportunities to help others rather than situations where she might be judged. This perspective shift transformed her experience and led to career opportunities she never would have discovered while avoiding professional gatherings. Keller emphasizes that courage isn't the absence of fear but action in the presence of fear. Each time you face a fear and survive the experience, you build evidence of your resilience and capability, making future challenges less intimidating and expanding your potential for achievement. Lesson 9. Develop expertise in your field. Competence builds confidence, which reinforces positive attitude in an upward spiral of professional development. Keller demonstrates how continuous learning creates momentum where increased knowledge leads to better results, which strengthens belief in your abilities and opens new opportunities. He tells the story of a mid-level manager who transformed her career trajectory by committing to read one business book per week and attend every relevant professional development opportunity. Within 3 years, her expertise had grown to the point where she became the go-to person for strategic initiatives, leading to multiple promotions and significantly increased compensation. Keller emphasizes that expertise development isn't about becoming perfect or knowing everything in your field. Instead, it's about committing to constant improvement and staying current with industry developments while developing specialized knowledge that makes you valuable and irreplaceable. The chapter describes how expertise creates a confidence loop where increased competence leads to better performance, which generates positive feedback, which builds confidence, which encourages further learning and development. This cycle separates career leaders from career followers. Keller provides practical strategies for systematic skill development, including creating learning schedules, finding mentors, joining professional associations, and seeking challenging assignments that force growth. He emphasizes that expertise development is an investment that pays dividends throughout your entire career. Lesson 10. Networking that works. Effective networking flows from genuine interest in helping others achieve their objectives rather than pursuing a self-serving agenda. Keller explains how people with positive attitudes naturally build stronger professional relationships because they focus on contributing value rather than extracting benefits. He contrasts to networking approaches through detailed examples, the person who approaches professional events thinking, "What can I get from these people?" versus someone who asks, "How can I help these individuals succeed?" The difference in outcomes is dramatic. With the service-oriented networker building lasting relationships that generate opportunities, referrals, and collaborative partnerships over time. Keller shares the story of a young professional who built an extraordinary network by becoming known as someone who connected others, shared resources generously, and celebrated colleagues' successes. This reputation attracted high-quality relationships and opportunities that advanced his career far beyond what his technical skills alone could have achieved. The chapter addresses common networking mistakes, including premature self-promotion, failure to follow up on connections, and transactional thinking that treats relationships as immediate exchanges rather than long-term investments. Keller emphasizes that authentic networking requires patience and genuine interest in others' success. He provides specific techniques for building valuable professional relationships, including preparation strategies for networking events, conversation techniques that create memorable interactions, and follow-up systems that maintain connections over time. Lesson 11. Persistence pays. Persistence represents much more than continuing effort. It requires maintaining enthusiasm and intelligent adaptation through setbacks while keeping focus on ultimate objectives. Keller distinguishes between productive persistence and stubborn repetition of ineffective approaches. He provides the famous example of Colonel Sanders, who faced rejection over 1,000 times before finding a restaurant willing to use his chicken recipe. However, Keller emphasizes that Sanders wasn't blindly repeating the same approach. He was refining his presentation, learning from feedback, and adapting his strategy while maintaining unwavering belief in his product's value. The chapter includes the story of a woman who spent 5 years building her consulting practice through continuous rejection and apparent failure. Her persistence paid off when a major corporation hired her for a project that led to ongoing contracts worth millions of dollars. The years of apparent failure had been preparation and network building that positioned her for extraordinary success. Keller explains the psychology of persistence, describing how most people quit just before breakthrough moments because they focus on current circumstances rather than long-term vision. He teaches readers to measure progress by activity and learning rather than immediate results, maintaining motivation during inevitable difficult periods. The chapter emphasizes that persistence must be intelligent, involving regular evaluation of strategies and willingness to adjust methods while maintaining focus on core objectives. This flexibility prevents the frustration and discouragement that comes from repeatedly using ineffective approaches. Lesson 12. It's never too late. Age, background, and current circumstances do not determine future possibility. Attitude and willingness to take action create opportunity regardless of starting point. Keller presents compelling examples of individuals who achieved significant success later in life by refusing to accept limiting beliefs about timing and opportunity. He shares the inspiring story of a woman who returned to college at age 65 after her husband's death, eventually earning a doctorate and becoming a successful therapist specializing in grief counseling. Her life experience, which she initially viewed as a limitation, became her greatest professional asset and the foundation for helping hundreds of clients. Keller describes Ray Kroc, who was 52 when he founded McDonald's and built it into a global empire. Rather than viewing his age as a disadvantage, Kroc leveraged decades of business experience and industry relationships to create systematic processes that younger entrepreneurs might not have developed. The chapter addresses common limiting beliefs about age and timing, explaining how these mental barriers prevent people from pursuing opportunities that could transform their lives. Keller emphasizes that experience, wisdom, and established networks often provide advantages that offset any perceived disadvantages of starting later in life. He provides practical strategies for career transition and goal pursuit at any age, including gradual transition techniques, skill development approaches, and mindset management during periods of change and uncertainty. The message is clear. Your next chapter can be your best chapter if you approach it with the right attitude and willingness to take action. The central insight of attitude is everything is that success begins in your mind before it manifests in your circumstances. Your attitude operates as both filter and magnet, determining what you notice, how you interpret events, and what you attract into your experience. The practical application involves 3 daily practices: monitoring your self-talk and adjusting negative patterns, visualizing successful outcomes with emotional intensity, and choosing associations that reinforce positive perspectives rather than drain your energy. Most importantly, Keller demonstrates that attitude is a choice you make moment by moment rather than a fixed personality trait. This means you have complete control over the most important factor in your success, regardless of your current circumstances. Your attitude shapes everything: how others perceive you, which opportunities you recognize, how you respond to challenges, and ultimately what you achieve in life. The question isn't whether this principle is true. The question is whether you'll take responsibility for consciously directing your mental focus. If this summary provided value, please like this video and subscribe for more book breakdowns that can transform your professional and personal results. In the comments below, share one specific attitude shift you're committed to making this week. When you declare your intention publicly, you're significantly more likely to follow through. Next week, we're covering The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, another foundational text for anyone serious about personal development. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. Remember, your attitude is your choice, and your choice determines your life. Choose wisely.